Good evening, students. I am Dr. Kamala, Assistant Professor of Political Science, New Government Degree College, Serlingampalli, Rangareddy, Telangana. Today, we are going to discuss about the nationalist movement and constitutional development. So, how the history of Indian Constitution has began with the entry of British East India Company in 1600. The British East India Company came into India in 1600 AD. Now see here the map where the British imperialism. Now here imperialism and colonialism are interchangeably used. Okay, so the control and domination of the British Empire we can see clearly in this map where majority of the countries have been came under the control of the British Empire, we can say. Right now, even the America was also under the control of British Empire. Now, the geographical and political units formerly, which were under the British control, including the Dominion colonies, dependencies, trust territories, and protectorates were there. Now, in the 19th and early 20th century, the empire comprised about 1/4 of the world's land area and population encompassed territories on every continent, including the British Isles, North America, British West Indies, British Guiana, British West Africa, British East Africa, India, Australia, and New Zealand. See here we have earlier seen the map over here, which the British Empire has completely control over these areas. Right. Now we'll discuss actually what are the reasons for the Indian national movement. Okay, actually the Indian national movement, we can say it is the largest struggle organized by the freedom fighters against foreign rule. Now here 1600 AD, the Britishers actually came into India for the trade purpose, right? And the British East India Company which was authorized by Queen Elizabeth I, had established colonies all around the world. Now India was also one of their most important country or territory, which was called the jewel of the crown. Now see, this is the symbol of East India Company. Students, look it carefully. See, this is the symbol of East India Company. So when did East India Company came in India? Yes, 1600 AD. Now who has authorized this East India Company? Yeah, Queen Elizabeth I, right? And what was India was called? Yeah, jewel of the crown. Right. Now we'll discuss what is colonial rule exactly. Right. Now colonial rule, generally it is a policy or practice of wealthy or powerful nations maintaining or extending its control over the countries, especially in establishing settlements or exploiting resources. Right. Now, see, Britain was very strong because of its naval power. That is the reason it has become so much powerful that 1/4 of world's territories has been occupied by it. Right. So, uh, this is the UK under the territories under the leadership or the control or the British Crown has become one of the reasons for the Britain colonial rule, and this has become a strong sentiment for the growth of Indian nationalism. Now, the British rulers, what they have done is they have developed the communication facilities such as road, rail, press, posts, and telegraphs for preserving their administrative, political, and economic interests in India. So, the leaders of Indian national movement properly had availed such opportunities or facilities and informed the Indian masses about the tyrannical and exploitative policy of the British colonial rulers, which has brought a strong sentiment feeling of unity among the Indians. Right. Now, we can see on the one hand the communication system which has been developed by the British Empire was very good, but on the other hand these facilities were actually provided in order to make their trade and business very smoothly. Right. See, on the one hand it has provided the infrastructure to the Indian territory, but on the other hand this has made for the self interest of the British. Why? Because they want to take over the economic trade among India and Britain. So, in order to do away with this, they have developed a lot of communication or infrastructure facilities such as road, rail, press posts, and telegraphs, which has been done during the reign of Lord Dalhousie. Right here, the another major reason for the Indian national movement was the Great Revolt. It is which has took place in the year 1857. It is also known as the Sepoy Mutiny or the Indian Mutiny or the Great Rebellion or the Indian Insurrection or the India's first war of independence also. Remember that it is also known as the Sepoy Mutiny, the Indian Mutiny, right, the Great Rebellion, the Indian Insurrection, then it is also known as India's first war of independence. Now, actually the exploitative policies of the British rulers led to the discontent among Indians against British government. Now, the policy which was introduced by Britishers, the doctrine of lapse, and which was implemented by the Lord Dalhousie, who was the then Governor General, has implemented this doctrine of policy and among the native rulers. Now, great rulers like Jhansi Lakshmi Bai, Nanaji Rao Deshmukh, Tantia Tope, and others were quite disappointed over this despotic attitude or the policy of the British government. Now, on the other side also, there was a discrimination and anti-religious policy of the British military officers against the Indian sepoys. Now, sepoys is actually known as the Indian soldiers were called as sepoys. That you need to remember. So, they have planted the seeds of discontent and led to nationalist feelings among Indians. Right. British punished the sepoys actually who refused to load the rifles, right? Which was actually the composition of pig and cow fat content. So the Hindus and Muslims revolted against the British in 1857 at Meerut, right? Both sides committed atrocities against each other. Now, which was crushed by the British in the year 1858. Now, the another reason for the Indian national movement, we can say that the introduction of English education. Now, why they have introduced the system of English education? See, whatever it may be, the language plays a prominent role in communicating one to another, right? The Indians, majority of the Indians were illiterate, right? And they used to speak different languages, right? Now, the English, they don't have such communication with the Indian people. So, what they have done, they had introduced English education. Now, Lord Macaulay was responsible for this system, who has introduced an English education, and is also his name is also Lord Macaulay is also known as Thomas Babington. Okay, who is better known as Lord Macaulay, and he is the man who brought the English language and British education to India. And what happened? A few educated elite among Indians traveled to England to gain proficiency in English languages. Now, they were able to actually study and understand the views of many eminent political thinkers like Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau. And Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, we cannot forget their contribution, who has propounded the theory of social contract theory. On the other hand, J.S. Mill, who is a great individualist, has concentrated on more on individuals' liberty and freedom of expression. And Karl Marx, who has introduced a new scientific socialism, right? So, eminent, they had the Indians had an idea of or the views they have taken into consideration of Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, who has put an end to the state of nature and concluded the social contract theory. So, in order to put an end to the existing nature of society, and they brought to the new introduction of the civil society, right? And J.S. Mill, Karl Marx, so they came to the ideas of these people, and they communicated. After that, they have communicated the value and importance of those ideas to Indians in various regional languages. So they inspired the Indian masses to participate in the freedom struggle. Right. Impact of newspapers. This also has played an important role in making the movement in a huge or a large scale. Now, actually, there were about 650 newspapers which were used to publish in national and regional languages, and the which has played a major role in enlightening the people of India about the evil acts of British rulers. Right. So the nationalist movement leaders like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Surendranath Banerjee, Kasinathuni, Nageshwar Rao Pantulu, Motilal Nehru, and others started newspapers in Bengal, Bombay, and Madras provinces. So the papers like Kesari, Amrit Bazar Patrika, Andhra Patrika, The Hindu, the Indian Mirror have played an important role in making the idea about the administration of the British rulers, what they are doing with the different policies, right? So, uh, and these newspapers have successfully uh, fulfill the defined objectives like inculcating nationalist feelings, conveying public opinion to the government through publishing editorials, right, condemning the unpopular acts of British government, imparting knowledge among the people at village level. So the impact of newspaper, see, every day even the student has to read the newspaper, right? Because see, whatever the administration may be, we should know what is going on in and around the world. This makes us aware about the things, what is the present situation, where we are living, in what type of administration, is there is any justification, that we will come to know only by reading the newspaper. And not only that, the language will become perfect only when you read and write the articles or the newspaper, that you need to improve your skills, right? For example, as a student you should know the notifications regarding other employment opportunities, or for notification for entrance examination. How will come to know? When you read the newspaper. See, in those days of Indian national movement, these newspapers have played a prominent role in enlightening the people of India about the evil acts of British rulers, right? Economic exploitation. Now, the British government transformed India actually into a safe citadel for British investment markets and export of Indian raw materials. Now, actually, what happened? On the other hand, generally, it suppressed the growth of Indian cottage, village, and small scale industries for safeguarding the British investments on permanent basis. Now, actually, the British Governor General like Lord Lytton Curzon have implemented the policies which were suited to the British investors, exploiting the national wealth of India. Now, uh, the takeover of the Indian economy by colonial economy uh, as gradually was like a python slowly and surely swallowing a big thing with small mouth. You know python, how much it will be big? Yeah, and what happens? It swallows the bigger thing with a small mouth. Like that, the Indian economy was totally exploited by the British Empire, we can say. Now, the decline of India's trade and commerce first actually began with the closing years of Aurangzeb's period reign, and this has caused a bitter resentment among Indian industrialists, cottage and small scale artisans. Hence, we can say the movement went on. Right. The See here the peak of acute economic situation. So several famines have been occurred during the British rule, uh, actually which has left an impact on the freedom movement. But the British rulers, instead of rescuing the affected people, has caused great sufferings by collecting through coercive methods. As a result, what happened? The Indians had mounted hatred towards the British government, and they voluntarily joined the freedom movement. Right. So, and the British government aimed at preserving the interests of affluent sections of India, but it never bothered about it. And the common people generally became the victims of both the natural calamities and excess taxes that were collected by the British government. So they were forced to live amidst closure of cottage industries, repression of cottage artisans, utter poverty, unemployment, and other miserable conditions were prevailing during that period. And there was a universal feeling that Swadeshi and self rule, which have provided, see, every country needs a self Swadeshi and a self rule, which actually provided self employment and self respect, which are very much important for the individual as well as the state, were better, means better than the that of the alien ruler, we can say. Here now, emergence of Indian National Congress. Now, this is the most important platform for the Indian national movement, we can say. Now, in it, you need to remember that Indian National Congress has came into existence as a movement, not as a party, right? Because see, after the India got independence in 1947, when the first general elections were conducted in 1952, after the formation of the election commission in 1950, the first general election took place in 1952. Then the Indian National Congress as a movement was converted into a Indian National Party. Right. Now the Indian National Congress has a great history. Right. It has emerged on December 28, 1885 as a movement against British rule. What I said, the Indian National Congress has emerged as a movement, not as a party, right? And its ultimate goal was Swaraj. Now, the Indian National Congress was actually the initiative were thinking of a retired civil servant service officer A.O. Hume, Alan Octavian Hume. Okay, Alan Octavian Hume, right? So, he was a retired civil officer, and actually its aim was to obtain a great share in government. What its aim was to obtain a great share in government for educated Indians and to create a platform for civic and political dialogue between them and the British Raj. And the first meeting of the Indian National Congress was was to be held in Pune, but due to the outbreak of cholera over there, it was moved to Bombay. And actually, it consisted of 72 delegates. Okay, who had participated in this meeting. Right now, it played a crucial role in the organization of national movement, and this organization declared actually what I said, the Swaraj as its ultimate goal. Now, phases of Indian national movement. Have you heard about Dr. Ramesh Chandra? Yes, he is known as R.C. Majumdar, right? Ramesh Chandra Majumdar, and he is a historian and a professor of Indian history. Now, the Indian history actually was divided into three phases according to Dr. Ramesh Chandra Majumdar. Now, the first phase actually is called as moderate phase. Now, this moderate phase generally is during the period of 1885 to 1905. Please note down, right? The moderate phase is from 1885 to 1905, and it is actually described as the era of reforms, and the most prominent moderates are Dadabhai Nauroji, who is known as the Grand Old Man of India, W. Umesh Chandra Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, uh, were uh, known as moderates. Okay, that we will discuss in the next class, right? And the second phase is the extremist phase. Now, the extremist phase is from 1906 to 1919. Okay, 1906 to 1919, right? So this phase actually is described as the militant nationalist movement. What they are quite opposite to moderates. Okay, moderates are very smooth and they were very slow and in a steady manner, but quite opposite to that, the extremists were totally revolutionary, right? That's why they were this phase is known as the militant nationalist movement, and most prominent leaders were Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Aravindo Ghosh, and they were popularly known as Lal Bal Pal, right? Who are Lal Bal Pal? Yes, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal. Okay, that we will discuss when we discuss about the phases of Indian national movement in another class in the topic, right? And last phase is Gandhian phase, which is started in the year 1920 to 1947. Now, actually, Gandhi has came. He was in South Africa, and where he has fought a civil disobedience movement against racial discrimination in South Africa, and where he has carried out his instruments like a non-violence method. So this was actually known to the Indians, and Gopal Krishna. Here in India also there was a national movement going on, right? So on the receipt of letter of Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Gandhi came to India in 1915, right? So when he came to India in 1950, he around 1 to 2 years he has totally means toured the Indian states, and he saw the situation, what the problems are faced by Indians under the control and the domination of British Empire. Then he started movements Champaran, Kheda, and all these have been civil disobedience movement under the Gandhian phase that we will discuss. Okay, so so the Gandhian era actually as uh, uh, means an important movement in Indian national movement, we can say. It is also described as the non-violent period, right? And it was memorable in the history of Indian national movement, and not only Indian national movement but also in the history of Indian National Congress, right? So we these are the phases which has been divided into three based on the periods, right? Moderate phase, extremist phase, Gandhian phase. So these we will discuss in the next class, right? Thank you so much.